So here we have Megha Bajaj here today. She is the best-selling author of the book The Breakthrough. In the past, she has penned several acclaimed and award-winning books, including Thank You Cancer, I Inspire, and Happiness in the Age of Ambition. She has written over 1,000 articles for internationally acclaimed magazines and newspapers. Megha is an author mentor who runs online writing and healing workshops for aspiring authors as well as people looking at using words to heal their lives and know themselves better. She is a well loved speaker on her talk show Wow Talks as well as has been invited to premier institutes to share her insights and inspiring stories. She was the youngest speaker at the World Confluence of Spirituality and Humanity for 2 consecutive years and has recently addressed FICCI Flow, the women's wing of the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. She's also writing film scripts for prominent production houses and best knows herself as an ardent seeker. So glad to have you today.
Thank you so much, Kathy. And just hearing you with that beautiful smile was like, it just made my day. Thank you.
So awesome to have you today and to be talking to you. So I think let's get into this interview. So the first thing that I wanted to know was like about yourself. What is your background, your education, and what is your current career path?
Okay, so Kathy, I am a chance author. Okay,
Okay.
it writing is something that happened to me, and it wasn't something I decided I would do.
Mhm.
So there's a big joke in the family that when I was 3 years old, my father was going to the US and he asked that, do I want anything from the US? And at 3, he thought I wouldn't really want much. Apparently, I ran and I bought a huge, paper and I made a list of about 111 items. And
Wow.
that's the moment he knew a writer has been born in his family. So that's where the story begins. And it's been strange. Like, I grew up in a Marwadi family, a joint household where we spoke in Hindi at home. So I had my dadi, my taiji, everyone living with me, and we only spoke in Hindi. So I never picked up English as a language for a very long time. And I clearly remember this incident, Kathy. In the sixth standard, my teacher asked me to stand up and she asked me some question about future tense, something English teacher, and I
Mhm.
couldn't answer it. So she was like, I'm telling you, mark my words, you will never learn English. And today, I mean, not only is it like I'm a best-selling author, I've written
Wow.
textbooks in English. So this same teacher, when she read some article on me in Times of India, said, mailed me saying, I always knew you were a very special one. I was like, yeah, right. So I think one of the things that I gather about myself from these experiences that inner voice for me was always very strong. It's like something used to keep watching, something used to keep observing, and I used to always be in a dialogue with myself. So when
Mhm.
I started writing, it was actually a relief because all that I was speaking in my head
Mhm.
started coming out in paper and started reaching out to the world. So it was, it's more like writing came almost as naturally as breathing to me, and just that it's become something so big now. But that's, yeah, that's who I am. And I'm a chance writer, and now writing is something that's as natural as breathing to me.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. So, what are you currently doing?
So I've been writing a lot of books, of course, and of course, the latest book that I wrote is The Breakthrough,
Yeah.
published by Rupa Publications, and it's been a life-defining project in a lot of ways because it's about 11 individuals from across India who began their life from nothing. Like, I wouldn't even say they began their life at zero; they probably began their life at minus. And today they are trailblazers, they are inspirations, they are people who everybody looks up to. So the entire journey of being with these 11 people, and as part of the process, one of most biographies are written either like you're just kind of having some coffee with them or you meet them for a few hours. One of the things I wanted differently done is I wanted to go and live with these people.
Yeah.
So I've actually gone and lived in 11 homes, been with them day and night,
Mhm.
understood not just what they were saying, but what they were not saying, you
Mhm.
know. And I've observed them because I'm sure, Khyati, for you as well, like who you are at home and
Correct.
who you are in a day is who you really are. So I wanted to really observe that what they're saying and what they're doing, is it the same or not, And I could see that they were such holistic people. I mean, they were doing things for their health, they were doing things for their wealth. They're people who share beautiful relationships. They're people who are very spiritually aligned. So seeing them the way they were in their natural environment is what excited me to write the book. And the way it's been received, Kathy, I mean, we are already at 11,300 copies in 3 months. We've had 500,000 people attend the book launch, and everybody who's been reading it has been saying it either makes them laugh, or it makes them cry, or it's making them feel so inspired. So knowing that you can become a part of someone's story like that and bring that story to the other where they feel it's their story has been a very life defining project for me. Actually, it's phenomenal.
I mean, there are so many emotions all covered in that book. It's
Yes.
absolutely so nice. So,
Yeah.
okay. So, like, how, I mean, you have already discussed, like, how did you get into writing? But what exactly catches your attention when you write books? Because you have written a few books earlier also.
Right.
So, what has been that one thing that always, makes you itch for writing?
So, Kathy, I think from the time I was a child, I would never ask people, like when guests come home, I would never ask them, how are you? How is the weather? I wasn't interested in the banal questions.
Yeah.
So, some guest would come and I would suddenly ask that, oh, so tell me more about your relationships. And this is like when I'm about 7 years old, and they also used to be like, huh, okay. Is this 7-year-old really asking me about my relationships? Or like my dad's a very famous engineer, so he had many people coming home, and like some people from the government, this that. So whenever they would come, I would just ask them such deep questions. Somehow I think that's where the whole curiosity grew, that I'm interested in knowing thought processes, because I feel that who what the world is a reflection of what everyone's thinking. And the only way to change the world outside is to change the world within. So I was fascinated by how do these people who really, like, while some people are struggling in life, some people seem to just be galloping ahead. And while we say it's luck, that 4 letter word, it can't really be luck. It has to be some other things as well. So
Mhm.
I've always been fascinated to know what are these secret laws, what is it that makes them apart from the others? And how is it that I can use it, and how can I bring it to other people to, kind of. So if you see all my books, be it this, be it Happiness in the Age of Ambition, Thank You Cancer, I Inspire, all of them are based on the thought processes of people who've got their life right. And that's what fascinates me. Like right now, as you're sitting here, smiling, in my mind, I'm already like, okay, a young girl from Bhopal, is such a famous Instagrammer. What all does she do? How does she read? So I want to not know just what I see. I want to know what I don't see. And I really feel that when we start getting in touch with thought processes of great people, we start becoming great simply by rubbing our shoulders with them. So I that's the whole fascination of breakthrough. That can I know when you're met with that one challenge, how did he think? When you're met with that rejection, how did she think? When you get to know that thought process, when you are in a life situation similar, or even different, but it's a rejection, you immediately think, oh, Chitra would have thought like this. Arun Kumar Natha would have done this. Nitin Nayati would have thought like this. These are people's names from the book. So immediately the thought process starts getting tweaked. And I feel that one of the best ways to learn is to learn through lives of other people. And that's what I've been doing as a kid and now as an author.
That's a fantastic response to this particular question. I mean, learning about the thought processes and how everyone is thinking is such a could be a life changing moment for us also.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I think this is the reason why we say that we should be learning from each other as humans.
Absolutely. And like, say, for instance, an author, right? Like today, the people, aspiring authors, readers on your Instagram would ask you that, I'm sure they're wondering that okay, some may not have written a book, some may have written a book and wondering, how do I even sell the first 500 copies? So when you get behind the shoe of somebody else and understand, okay, how did this happen? You feel that excitement to be able to do it, right?
Correct.
Like the fact that someone's climbed the Mount Everest makes you, you may or may not want to do it, but at least you know that it's a possibility that you could do it.
Correct. Correct. So that's amazing to know you
Mhm.
that way. Okay. So then now that you have told us that what exactly prompts you to write books, what exactly prompted you to write The Breakthrough? Like, compiling those 11 stories and presenting it to the world. What made you do that?
So, Kathy, it was actually a moment that happened.
Okay.
It's a very beautiful story. I mean, so
Mhm.
in 2016, I have a guru, I have a spiritual guru called Mahatria who I follow,
Oh,
and he organizes this convention every year, or every few years, where seekers from across the globe come. And what he did in this 2016 particular one was that he had given 30 awards to
mhm.
people from, like, among maybe 30 or 50,000 people. Only 30 people got this award, where he said that these are the people who are
Mhm.
leading a holistic life. They're healthy, they're wealthy, they're very, they have beautiful relationships, they're peaceful, and they're spiritually aligned. And he's like, to me, success is not just, usually when we say success, it immediately says like title, money, this thing, that thing. But the thing is, suppose someone has all that, but they're not happy with it, or they're not healthy, or they have the most terrible relationship with their spouse, then to me, that's not true success. So when he was giving those awards, I was just sitting in the huge hall, and everybody was laughing and everybody was happy. And I just had this one, like, literally a light bulb moment. It was like, tuck. And I was like, hey, these are the stories that need to be told to the world. Because when we have read autobiographies, we've read about people succeeding in one role. Like if you read about a cricketer, we know that in cricket, he has aced. But
Yeah.
how is he in all the other aspects of his life, we never knew. So if you read The Breakthrough, it doesn't just talk about their money journey, which of course has been from nothing to everything, but
Mhm.
it's also about, you know, them as people,
Mhm.
them as a husband, them as a daughter, them as a daughter in law. Because I feel when you're balancing all the roles, to me, that's true success. And I felt nowhere in the world have books been written about holistic wonders. It's always been written about someone as one, like when you read a Gandhi autobiography, it clearly says that while he was the father of the nation, to
Mhm.
his own sons, we don't know if he was able to do justice. So
Correct.
it's incredibly inspiring. But I felt in the new world and the way the world is growing, we need holistic wonders. We need people who are excelling on all aspects. So that's how that idea came, and it took me a few years to kind of brew it in me, grow into me. It literally, like, I like this word called simmering.
Yeah.
Literally, like how when you toss the vegetables until simmer. I think the idea simmered in me for such a long time. And then finally, last year, it was ready to be written.
Okay. So, as you said about striking the right balance and like holistic wonders, so is it really possible for humans to really achieve that, stage of holistic living? And if they can achieve that, how can they really go about it?
So, Kathy, seeing these people and seeing how my life also is getting shaped, I would definitely say yes, it's possible to live a life which is holistically abundant, where you're taking care of health, wealth, relationships, and your spiritual alignment. And
Mhm.
I think it's possible because uh, there's no limitation to a human potential.
Correct.
Everything we're doing is basically like someone would have told you, Kathy, you can do this, so
Mhm.
you believe you can do it. Someone told you you can't do this, so you believe you can't do it.
Yeah.
But actually, there's no limit, right? Like the limit only exists between these 2 years. So I think these people, and in general, a lot of people have been meeting recently. I'm
Mhm.
seeing that they are so healthy, they're
Mhm.
so wealthy, they're so happy. and they're just so aligned. Like they'll meditate, they have their time for marathons, they have their time to earn their 100 crores. So they're doing everything so well. And I also wondered earlier that, hey, do they also have the same 24 hours as me, you
Yeah.
know? But over time I realized that when you really do, when you are inspired to be your best, and when you wake up each morning saying that I'm going to improve at least in some aspect of my life,
Yeah.
I've seen that the world opens up, time opens up, and you just feel like you're growing each day. So
Correct.
I agree that, yeah, you can be a holistic wonder. And I think one way of getting there is to have this burning desire to live up to your complete potential. And you don't need to be at any stage. Like, if a student is listening to this talk, you could begin today by trying to become better at whatever you're doing. If a CEO is listening to this talk, I would say, even for you, it's not, no one has arrived and no one has not arrived. Everyone is on the journey. And I think if you just wake up with that fire to do more, I think nothing can stop you.
Yeah. I mean, being on a journey is itself a very fulfilling experience, I guess.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So, as we know that Breakthrough contains 11 stories, and each story is different in its own way. So, which particular story is closest to your heart? I know it's a very difficult question. Every story must be very special to you. But then, if you have to pick up one out of those 11, what would it be?
So whenever I get asked this question, I feel a little filmy. Like how a mother would say, like, how do I choose between my five fingers? Like when Amitabh Bachchan and some other actors fighting, like for the mother, and he's like, mere paas ye, mere paas. I feel like that, like, this one is so special in this, that one is so special in this. Everybody is uniquely special. So I really feel every story has something, like, and it's a different flavor. So I don't know. I mean, in my husband's culture, is a Telugu. They have a culture. They have a particular festival where they have to make the taste of every flavor. So you have to make something sweet. You have to make something sour. You have to also make something chili, bitter, and all those tastes together. You have to have. I feel that's how the book is. Like, one story will inspire you like crazy, one will teach you about something else, one will make you just laugh and laugh and laugh, one will make you cry. So I can just say one thing, like, if you're someone who really likes humor, okay, and you feel like, oh, I want, so with all this coronavirus going on and stuff, you feel like, I just need a light read. You have to read the story of Guru Prasad Makam. Okay, so he was this gunda, very notorious kid, I mean, heights of notoriety, and how today he runs one of the top 20 CA firms of India. So from being a naughty gunda outlaw, how has he built such a big organization which is clean, absolutely ethical? It's a journey, and it's written in a very humorous way. So it's hilarious. So
Yeah.
I don't have a favorite, but yeah, if humor is something you look for, then I think that's the story you should read.
Okay, that's so great. I mean, people who are actually watching this interview, so if you are the one who wants the taste of different flavors, go and check out the Breakthrough. I think it is going to hook you for different reasons. Be,
Absolutely.
be any mood, you're going to love it. Okay, so what were your key takeaways from these 11 stories? What did you learn about
Uh,
things in life?
I learned a lot of really beautiful things from, the book is a small part of my journey with the 11 people, because before the book, I've known a few of them. Now that the book is released, and after the book, through the pandemic, I've had the chance to observe them, their thought processes. So, my I don't know them as only characters in the book, I know them as people. They're friends now. They're all so dear to me because of the book now. I mean, we've just become like one family.
Yeah.
So, one thing amazing and which is very relevant for the pandemic times, 11 of them. Can you believe all 11 are not just like surviving? but they are flourishing through these pandemic times. Okay, flourishing means some of them have actually doubled their turnover.
Wow.
Some of them, against all odds, are building like the biggest flyover from one place to the other. Even though laborers are not available, things are not there, even then they're doing it. So one thing that I learned from, and there's a doctor, she had 4 IVF centers, before the book got launched, which was in August. In the pandemic, she's launched one more center. And
Wow.
trust me, I mean, it's like in the pandemic, things have gone low, things have gone bad for most people, except of course Zoom or a few companies. But these people, against like all the people in the industry, I don't know how they're doing, but these guys are flourishing. So
Yeah.
this is what made me realize that their stories, and they are the kind of people who just, I mean, they'll never wait for circumstances to change. They change and they keep moving. So the transitions, the way they make transitions and how quickly they execute it is
Yeah.
something that I would like to share with the viewers, Kathy, because I think that's where we, like suppose you want to write a book.
Yeah.
Between you wanting to write a book to you actually writing to the book, there may be a long gap.
Correct.
Whereas what I've seen with these people, the instant they have the thought, they find ways to make things happen. And really, I'm telling you, they've made that sentence come true. When you give it everything, the whole world conspires to make your dreams come true. I'm seeing this in action. And the beautiful thing is that readers have been telling me that, when you read something, you're not just reading font or you're not reading just a story. You're actually becoming one with the vibration of the person you're reading about, you know. So when you're reading the story, you unknowingly inherit or imbibe this vibration of getting into the action mode. And to me, that is fascinating because it's literally like your own personal genie, right? Like you read the book and you're inheriting so many good things through it. So
Correct.
that's what's happened to me as well. And yeah, I think the one thing I would say is that there's no gap between their thinking, their execution, and it actually materializing into life.
They are like free flowing into the universe.
Yeah,
Energy is flowing.
absolutely.
So nice, so nice, so nice. Okay. Um. Okay. So we know that the breakthrough has already achieved a lot of success, and it's a best-selling book, and people are learning from the book. So how do you feel about its success, and how did it change you?
So sweet. I'm wondering. Um, I think both success and failure, frankly, are just they're both temporary. If you can understand that, neither is your success going to last, because right now it's tremendous to be this, but the minute I launch my next book, I'm again going to be at ground zero and again pick it up from there. Even with breakthrough, it's going to keep growing for me, but it's like every day brings its own success, it brings its own failure. So what I've started realizing is that I don't get too attached to either the failure, and I don't let it like break my heart and feel like, oh God, I'm good for nothing. And neither do I let the success get into my head like, oh, I am I have arrived. No. And in fact, like, if you look at it, like when I look at a J.K. Rowling, for example, right? And Harry Potter is such a brilliant series that you feel, what will she do next that's going to top that,
Yeah.
right? For me, the way I look at breakthrough is that it's the best is yet to come. It's a phenomenal book, but I hope that every next book just keeps getting better and better and better, and more profound, more deep, more impactful. So I keep myself in this feeling that the best is yet to come. So the success doesn't get into my head. But on a positive front, I mean, it's like so many more people know me. The kind of mails I receive, the kind of fan following there is, it's a very it's a very beautiful feeling that that, like, I have a lot of thoughts every day. Usually I would just write it and it would only impact me. At best, I'll discuss it with 10 people, it'll impact them. Today, when I know through my social media, I'm directly reaching 30,000 people every day. I know that that one thought, one trigger, one insight will directly reach 30,000 people. And that gives me a very, it makes me feel responsible, and it also gives me a deep sense of fulfillment. So it's very beautiful feeling.
Yeah.
Success is a beautiful feeling, and yet it doesn't go into my head. I feel I've just begun.
Okay. This is really nice to listen to from you, because it's often seen that when people get successful, they lose their own path, and they like divert from their own their journey of to whatever they were, wherever they wanted to be. So I think staying on your ground and staying rooted to your ground and being humble is so important. So important. Yeah, that's so nice to hear from you. Okay. Um.
And it's not just words, like I mean it. Like I feel I've not begun.
Yeah.
Even though there are so many books, so much happening, for where I want to be, this is not even the first step taken. So
Okay.
there's no question of not being humble, right?
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay. So now that you have written like so several books in line, again it's a tricky question, but which one is closest to you?
So, like I said, for me, I always want my best to be the one that I'm still going to come up. Like the best is yet to come. So I don't think that I breakthrough has changed me in some of the most beautiful ways, and it's defined my career as a writer in a lot of ways. It's been path breaking, but I still want to believe that the best is yet to come. So I don't want to say that this is my favorite. I want to say that this is yet another day and yet another journey, and I hope so many more are coming my way.
Like I also hope the best for you. I mean,
Thank
I
you
really
so
would
much.
want to read you in the future.
Thank you so much, Kathy.
Yeah.
That means a lot.
Okay. Um. Because I think the breakthrough is in the category of non-fiction and seemingly a self-help book for people. So I just wanted, and people are reading a lot of self-help books these days. But there are people then who would always come across. I mean, like, I come across them who say that it's very hard to get into non-fiction, and it's very hard to read self-help books. They seem repetitive, and the learnings from them are not exactly applicable to our lives or whatever, like they have their own reasons. So do you think that self-help books are really impactful, and do people should, I mean, I know that people should be reading them, but then what could be an ideal approach to reading self-help books?
I think one of the best things that happened with the breakthrough is that children as young as 11 years of age have been telling me that, Didi, this doesn't read like a book, it's like watching a movie.
Okay.
So if you could convey non-fiction and self-help, obviously so many ideas, so many triggers, but if you could convey it in a way that it reads like fiction, you would just be bringing the best of both the worlds. Like, I've never believed, Kathy, in the word or. I've never felt that you should be this or that. I feel when we have a universe which is that abundant, and when it is offering you the word and,
Hmm.
why would you not choose it, and why would you not make it yours? So
Yeah.
for me, it's like, I really feel that this book is non-fiction, but it reads like a fiction. It's a book, but it reads like a movie. It's so much about self-help, but it's not preachy. It's more like, it's fun. It's like the fun stories of these 11 people.
Hmm.
So in why not have that and? In fact, a little thing I would like to add here, a personal thing, that when I was taking up writing as a career,
Hmm.
a lot of people, a lot of naysayers, writers themselves told me that, okay, writing is great, but the thing is, it'll never pay you. You'll never earn out of money.
Yeah.
My own father, like I said, he's from IIT and this genius. So he's like, but beta, you're intelligent. Why do you want to become a writer? I said,
Yeah.
hello, like, what do you mean? And like, my family is filled with science students, so they couldn't comprehend why I would want to take the art stream.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, but today, when I'm pretty young, and I bought my first Mercedes last year.
Yeah.
And as an author, that was a moment of a lifetime for me, because I just felt that everything the world was saying, that either you can do this or that, this or that, I showed it, or I was able to experience the and over there.
Yeah.
That I could be this and I could be that. So I think the same thing for the fiction, non-fiction approach, that make your non-fiction come alive so that it reads like fiction.
Okay. Okay. That's a totally very unique approach and a very unique perspective. So
Yeah.
people, if you want to read non-fiction, just make sure you read it. Make come it sounded like a fiction, and that's so totally on you. Like, how are you going to do that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Um. So now that the breakthrough itself is it's like a book of inspiration, 11 stories, all inspiring people. And so, who happened to be your inspiration for writing books and letting the stories out of you in the world?
So I must say that I have a few inspirations. Um, I have someone who inspires me in life, and that would have to be my Guru Mahatria, because
Mhm.
again, the word Guru itself brings about a feeling of, oh God, is it going to be serious? Is
Yeah.
spirituality very serious? But he's one of the most contemporary, fun, happy gurus I've ever met. So he's made the subject called God or spirituality or your own potential so exciting that I wake up every morning feeling, oh my God, today what's going to happen? What miracles going to come? What beautiful things are going to happen to me today? So I don't feel different from a Harry Potter visiting Hogwarts in my daily life, and I think that's happened because of him. So in life, I would say that my inspiration is my guru. As an
Mhm.
author, definitely I really admire J.K. Rowling. I feel that her ability of storytelling, her
Mhm.
ability to make magic so magical, has been phenomenal. I mean, and in fact, the inspiration I draw from her is that I don't want to write about, I may, but as of now, there's no thought of writing about magic spells or potions or witches or wizards. I feel
Mhm.
we are the wizard of our life, you know.
Yeah.
So for
Yeah.
me, the perspective is completely different, and I feel that the magic is the real life. Hogwarts is my home, my own workplace, Dumbledore is the people I'm right. So it's like everybody is actually a real character in your own life. And I think the way she tells stories is phenomenal, and I really love her for that. So these are, yeah, as an author, J.K. Rowling, and as a person or a seeker, Mahatria is.
I, yeah, that's so nice. I mean, I think all of us, if we just happen to see our lives as Hogwarts, as you said, our own perception towards our life and living and towards the world is going to be so different and perhaps positive.
Yeah. Like, I mean, when you, even when you're going in a rickshaw somewhere, or if you're going in a cab, but
Mhm.
if you look at it as that journey that Harry Potter takes, from his home to Hogwarts,
Yeah.
you never know who the next person you're going to meet who's going to change your life, right? I mean, this interview, we don't know in what ways we'll impact each other. So
Yeah.
everything is a mystery waiting to be unraveled. And it's just, and none other than Albert Einstein, who's so rooted in science, said that either you can see, if there are only two ways to look at life: one, that everything is magic, and two, that nothing is magic. I choose the first. It just makes everything so much more exciting.
Truly, it does. It always does. So, I want to know that how did writing define you as a person, or how did it refine you as a person?
Wow, that's a nice one. So Kathy, I would say that, like I said, that my internal
Mm-hmm.
thought process
Mm-hmm.
coming out on paper is writing for me. So it's not that I become a writer and I become some other person. I am one. It's just that when I'm thinking, it's in my head. When
Mm-hmm.
I'm writing, it's out there in the world.
Yeah.
So the way it's changed me is that it's relieved me, because see, we have so many thoughts in a day. We go through so many feelings in a day. And all that is happening in this one little box called your mind, you know. The minute you come out of the box and the minute you start writing, you realize, oh, the world is relating to you and they also are in that own box and they're also coming out of it. So
Mhm.
it's, words are a bridge from your box to the other person's box, from your heart to the other person's heart. And in that sense, they're so beautiful because if I didn't have words, I would think my whole life is defined to me, my thoughts, my processes. But now that I have words, say for breakthrough instance, you know, I've had people from Germany to Florida to Atlanta to Alaska, people mailing me that, hey, we read the book and, you know, we felt it's our story. We saw ourselves in Sushil Mehta. We saw ourselves in Dr. Asha. I cried when Prabhuram went through this experience. So hearing all this, I realized that deep within, you know, right now you have the straightest hair. I have the curliest ones. You're wearing glasses, I'm not. But when you remove all those layers, you're from Bhopal, I'm from Bombay, you know, you remove. I think deep within, there'll be something that's so similar about you and me. You know, there's something so, maybe our need for love, maybe our need for magic, maybe our need for just reaching out to the world. And I think words have helped me to find other people with that same, you know, need. And it's made the world a smaller place for me. It's just made everything, yeah. This box is no longer a closed box. It's an open box. That's what writing has done for me.
That, that's so fascinating. Reaching out to other people through words, one box to another box. Such a
I
nice
mean,
one.
I wouldn't be meeting a smiling girl from Bhopal had I not written, right? I mean, how else would I have met you? So for me, it's always like, it's fascinating what words do,
Yeah,
and it connects people at a very different level.
yeah, absolutely. I will totally agree with this because words are equally special for me. And when I read people, it is such a nice experience. And I cannot explain it to people who say that why do you read so much? I mean, unless and until you read others, you wouldn't get to know what words do to you.
Correct.
So that's
And you
that's
know, when you're reading others, you meet a part of yourself.
yeah,
You know,
that's
and
correct.
that's what's so fascinating because you realize the world is actually not that big and diverse. It's just one atom, and
Yeah.
somehow we're all a part of that atom.
Okay. Okay. So, like as you said, your inspiration in writing is J.K. Rowling. However, if you would want to like sort of give a shout out to a fellow author of contemporary times, who would it be?
Um, I would give a shout out to Michelle Obama
Okay.
for Becoming.
Yeah.
I thought that that book was fascinating about how a young girl, you know,
Mhm.
growing up in America, her experiences, and
Mhm.
just the woman that she is and the way she inspires people.
Mhm.
I It's a really thick book, you know, the
Yeah.
Becoming, but I was I mean, I couldn't put it down. It was so, it's a fine example of how non-fiction can read like fiction.
Yeah.
I loved that book and it fascinated me. And since I'm already interested in people, their thought processes,
Mhm.
it was a book that spoke to me at various levels as a seeker, as a woman, as an author, and I really loved. So, big shout out
Michelle.
to that.
Michelle Obama. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Um. So, you conduct online workshops for authors, right? And you just tell them how they can go about writing books. So what would be one advice you would like to give to the aspiring authors now of today?
Sure. Um, So this whole online workshop also came about quite funnily. I mean, people started just asking me about 10 years ago that you write so well. We like to read you. Can you teach us? So randomly, I wasn't even active on Facebook those days, but I think randomly one morning I wrote one thing saying, aiming to conduct some online workshops. If interested, mail me. And I forgot all about it. I checked my mail in the night and it had 36 emails. So I was like, okay, the world really wants to write a lot. And 36 emails from different cities and countries. And I was like, because it's online, so you're not defined by geography. So
Yeah.
that's why I recognize that all of us have a need to tell stories. We want to tell our stories, we want to tell other stories, we want to just talk. We want to be heard, and writing seems to be such a beautiful way of doing that.
Mhm.
um I think the one advice I would give is that please be true to yourself. Because when someone's reading your book or your writing, it could be a poem, it could be a simple post on Instagram. They're not connecting just to the words, they're connecting to your energy. And whenever you're not true to yourself, when you're not, when you're thinking one and you're writing something else,
Mhm.
the reader can see it through. So, and we are all so beautiful as we are. Why would we want to be anyone else? So, my posts are sometimes hilarious. Sometimes
Mhm.
they make people cry. Sometimes they're just so simple.
Mhm.
But I don't try to fit into a particular box. I don't try to fit because me as Megha, I am so many things. And I don't want to be boxed into one. So I
Mhm.
would just tell all the aspiring authors there that the only way to succeed is by being true to yourself, because
Yeah.
unless you're going to be authentic to your voice, and don't think like suppose you want to write something, Kathy, and you think, okay, but who would want to read a story about a young girl from Bhopal, and would they want to? But you are you, and your experience is so unique to you that you will find people who will want to read that, and who will connect to you from world over, with that. That's
Yeah.
my dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
So,
is
so,
again.
so I would
Yeah.
just say be true to yourself and don't try to be anyone else but yourself in your writing. Because
Mhm.
people can see through. Readers are really smart. Please give it to them that, they're not going to be fooled by you. And
Yeah.
be honest. Be honest to the expression that's coming.
I think that's again a very interesting perspective of yours, because a lot of people are always trying to be someone else in whatever field they are working. However, only if they try to be who they are and get better at it, they would be much more successful. And
Absolutely. And in fact, I'd like to add something here, Kathy. Like these 11 people,
Mhm.
I'm inspired by them. I'm the youngest of the lot. Like we have a WhatsApp group and I'm the baby of the group. But so I'm awestruck by how much they're doing, what all they're achieving. But I I pick up traits, I pick up attitudes, but I don't want to become them. Their journey is their journey. I can't emulate their journey. So I'll just learn. So it's very beautiful to get inspired, but it's very bad to kind of want to become them because you can't. I mean, you have to only be who you are. So it's a thin line, but it's very beautiful when you get it.
uh, um, Singing. I think I'm like done with all the questions from my end. Okay, now I really don't want to see it ending, but to wind up, I would want to know, like, are you planning to write your best book yet? Now.
So I think I'll write my best book yet when I'm maybe 95 or ready to die. So, like I would actually want to write, I would want to put that last full stop, ensure that it's in the right publisher's hand, and
Yeah.
then pop it because I want to actually feel like, oh, like when I'm gone, people should say, oh, her best, it was all great, her journey, but her best even came after she was no more. And I'd be fascinated with that. So,
Yeah.
so the best yet will keep happening. But definitely, I mean, if I look at my own trajectory as a writer, the way I think and write right now is not the way I was thinking and writing even 2 months ago. So it's a ever growing process and it's fascinating. I mean, all you readers and writers out there, I'm telling you, writing sets you free. It makes you so happy. I mean, it's literally my reason for being alive, and I love it.
Okay, so right now you are working on some book.
I'm working on a few books. I'm also working on film scripts.
Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of people have been saying that your writing is so visual.
Yes.
We can see the book. So then I thought, okay, may as well do something. So we are thinking of doing some web series. We're thinking of doing some movies.
Mhm.
I've had some offers as well. let's see where it goes.
That's super amazing, and it would be fun to see you, your stories, coming alive on the screens one day. It was so
Thank
nice.
you so much, Kathy. Been such a pleasure being with you, and yeah, you made my morning.
It was such a great experience talking to you today because your thoughts on writing, on books, and on people, on world has definitely, taught me something about a lot of things. And because I see writing is a very beautiful process, and your perspective on that process has definitely added to my own thinking of it. So it was really enriching experience for me to talk to you today.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.